Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on The Pendulum, coming to you live on Lagos Television. I am Ajibola Ojeshola. The Pendulum is our weekly political program on Lagos Television. We also discuss other topical national issues on this platform as well, especially now that we are approaching the 2027 general elections. This afternoon on the show, we'll be looking at the state of the nation, and this will cut across different sectors. We know there are so many challenges facing the country as we speak. We have the problem of insecurity, power supply, and oftentimes at different fora, the ruling party had said that what it meant on ground was actually more complex than what it thought. And of course, there are so many innovations, so many reforms going on here and there to put the country on the right track. So this afternoon, two gentlemen will be joining me on the program for us to look at the state of the nation and critically discuss those issues being raised by the opposition political parties in the country as we approach another round of election in 2027. We'll be going on a very short break at this moment to bring you some of the trending news in the polity. When we come back, those gentlemen will be joining me here to discuss the state of the nation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and you're still watching The Pendulum, a weekly political program on Lagos Television. Earlier you saw In the Polity, which was a summary of political activities in the country. I did mention before that break that we'll be looking at the state of our dear nation, Nigeria, at this critical moment in the history of the country. And we have two gentlemen with us in the studio. Together we'll be assessing the state of the nation, which will cut across different sectors, like I mentioned earlier. To my far left this afternoon is Dr. Olayinka Alausa. Is a politician and also a physician. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And very close to my left here is Temitokpe Akinyemi. Temitokpe is also a politician, APC chieftain, and he was a member of the Presidential Campaign Committee in 2022. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. I think the best way for us to start, and I want the two of you to be very, very objective. Let me start with you, Tokbe. Looking at the state of the nation today, we are facing so many challenges: epileptic power supply, insecurity, the economy is still a bit shaky, quite a whole lot. And the ruling party will say that, okay, they met quite a lot of mess on ground when they got to power. But for those of you that campaigned rigorously for Mr. President before he got to the seat of power, how do you feel today? Do you think your party has done well, or Nigerians should give you more time to actually settle down for you to put the country on the right track?
First, thank you for the opportunity to be here.
You're welcome.
And from what you have said, I think Nigeria is on the right path. And for one, I definitely do not regret campaigning rigorously, as you have mentioned, for Mr. President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And our prayer at this moment is that he gets the opportunity to run, which I believe he will the second term. Now, Nigeria is on a path. Before now, we have had all of these problems, myriad of problems, and even much more. I like to liken it to a wound, on the human leg, on the human body that had degenerated so badly, but has a plaster on it. And each time you come around with disinfectant or antiseptic to clean around the wound. But what Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing now is yanking the plaster off that wound, going into the crevices and the deep mess that wound looked like, to clean it up. And that takes a while. Already we can see a lot of changes that
Who created this mess?
Yes, it was part of what the APC was doing. But let's remember that we've been on this path for about 27 years, since democracy in 1999. And there was a party that was there, the PDP was there. So the PDP created this gash that we're talking about now. But the APC is coming to clean up that mess. And that will take a little bit of time. Already we can see some changes in the economy, infrastructure, oil and gas, social reforms, pensions, finance sector, euro bonds, the investments. Right now we have FDIs coming into the country in millions of dollars. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not really done so much in traveling around the world to bring in these guys. These guys are looking at the policies and the policy, and they are willingly coming into the country to put in their money where their mouth is, you know. So,
but he's been to different parts of the country, of the world rather, a couple of times, calling on investors to come into Nigeria and invest.
And we can see the benefits. We can see the results of that happening already, because these guys are already coming into the country to invest in infrastructure, in oil and gas, in several sectors, in education, several sectors of the economy, you know. And another thing you can easily pinpoint is the social infrastructure. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has brought in NEL Fund, where students don't have to go up in arms to pay for their school fees, even for their own day-to-day expenses. They can easily access the NEL Fund to do that. There's Credit Corps, you know, where you can now buy materials, you can buy things that you need and structure a payment plan. Our pension scheme is working. Look at the Euro bonds that was oversubscribed. You know, so the policy right now is working. The part that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is putting, and the APC is putting the economy, is the path that we should follow. Do we still have a distance to go? Yes, there's still so much to be done. But I can assure you, the next few years will set us on a course that this country should follow. The next few years will set on a course where those that are out of the country would again look inwards into the country and be willing to be part of the process of development, of redevelopment, of infrastructural change and development that is coming into this country at this time.
Okay, I'm happy that you mentioned those in the diaspora, and that's where I'm going to take my question to Dr. Alausa. And, you know, Tokwe did mention some areas where the current administration is doing well. And but when you look at it critically at the same time, there are some other areas where we are still lagging behind. Power supply is still not steady. We're still facing the problem of insecurity. What are those things that you feel that probably if they had been done well, Nigeria would have been a bit better than what it is today, looking at the issue of power supply and the problem of insecurity, which is staring us in the face as we speak?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I must say thank you for bringing me on. And the questions you asked are the normal questions any right-thinking person will ask in a country like Nigeria. However, I want you to look at Nigeria in comparison to other African countries, and not totally expect Nigeria to become Europe or America in just one breath. So talking about power supply, yes, government has a role, but most of what power generation, supply and distribution should be doing is actually a private sector concern. We've come to realization a few years ago in Nigeria that government and government institutions cannot effectively run these things. This kind of infrastructures anywhere in the world, go to Europe, go to America, they are privately run. So what I think the government should do is what they are doing now, opening up the space for private investors to come on. The bill for this particular sector of power generation was actually signed into law by the president, I think about 2 years ago. Immediately came in for all states to be able to generate their own power supply. So that's the first thing that he needed to do, and he has done that. It's now left for us as individuals or government or private sector participants, business people, to go actually out of the country to look for the funds and bring them back home to invest. And I'll give you an example. It's not far-fetched. When Nigeria, in 2001, when President Olusegun Obasanjo deregulated the telecoms, it just handed licenses and investors paid the license fees. And what did they do afterwards? They went abroad. They went elsewhere and they got the funds and invested in telecoms. Yes, at the beginning of the investment, it was very expensive. It was difficult sometimes with the networks. But as the years went by, the infrastructure spread around the country. You remember quite well when they started, some parts of the country, when you go there, the network will fail and you can only use one network or the other. So it's almost the same thing with power. It's not rocket science. Government cannot put money in every sector, that like invest money in every sector. They can just create an enabling environment for investors to come in. And those are the people that create jobs. Government cannot create jobs for us. Investment, private investment will create the jobs, and government will make money out of those investments by collecting tax. Then all the infrastructures that surround those things they bring will also pay government taxes. Like employees will pay income tax. Then there are also some duties that will be paid on power supply, power generation, power, and that's how the funds revolve around. And the money that government generates from these taxes or these fees or these license fees, for example, will now be deployed into other key areas of the economy, and that's how you jumpstart an economy. So I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done fantastically well by creating that opportunity. It's only left for investors to take the opportunity, and there are different tiers of investment that you can bring into power sector. For example, you can be at the generation point, distribution point, and supply. And he even went further to create a company that recently a power holding, I forget the actual name of that name, but some company that would actually be accountable for how this distribution and everything, so that in one swoop government can see the problems and fix it. So people also forget sometimes that government is not a destination, and running government is not just one destination, it's a continuum. You stop from where somebody else stops and you take it. Then when you are doing those fixes, new challenges will come up, and then you fix those challenges, then you move forward again. So that's how economy builds over centuries and years. So you talked about security, and let me go into it. So anybody that grew up in Nigeria in the 80s and 90s, we all were traveling to the north, south, east, and west. Yeah, they were maybe armed robbery here and there, but it's just pockets of criminals and everything. But the ones that we have now is beyond just petty criminals. This is an ideological campaign against people's beliefs, in terms of the ones that we think are religious, in terms of these criminals. And then others are also based on ethnicity and culture that has been long-standing, like cattle rustlers and people that are trying to also take over other people's land, ancestral land. So these are things that are very fundamental to the core of existence of people. So it's not something that you can treat like armed robbery, or when people give you information, then you now set up a vigilante committee, and it goes deeper beyond it. And I think government should look at what are the core causes of this. Let's go to the root. I think we are only treating the surface, and that's why we are fighting this war for about 20 years now.
So what, in your opinion, do you think are the causes of this insecurity?
I think, for example, somewhere like Jos, Plateau, Benue, all those areas where you have a lot of clashes, I think all the communities involved, all the ethnic communities involved, government, and people that have skills with peace and conflict and management resolution, they should come together. Our religious leaders come together. Let us ask our question, almost like a confab on security.
But there was a time Mr. President was there, and he called all the stakeholders together, telling them to embrace peace and, of course, find a lasting solution to the problem of insecurity facing that particular side of the country. Because Benue State, for instance, is the food basket of the nation. And then Mr. President went there when there was a particular killing, and appealed to every. It was a town hall meeting, actually.
Yes, but I think the president's 1 day or 2 day visit to a state will not solve those kind of problems. There has to be deeper dive into what the real causes are. We might lie to ourselves and say, and look at it on the surface and not want to really go deep. But if anybody serious about tackling with government deep to the cause, to the root, we have to come together and sit down, almost like having like a confab or something about security in those areas. Imagine how this has affected our nation. People, there's no how you want to look at it. There has been a reduction in the food generated from those areas. Yeah. And that's having a multiplying effect on the prices of food and agri-commodities. So if we have lasting peace and tranquility in that area, you imagine how food can be very cheap and we can go back to the status quo prior to all these crises. So I think the president has done well in the first instance, but the government is not one tier government. It's not only
it has layers.
That layer. There are layers of governance. We have the president who is just going to do things at the policy level. The implementation and also the evaluation of how the implementation is working is in the hands of the government, the local government,
the governors, then
local government, and also other key stakeholders like the police, the army, and the military. Because when it comes to internal war too, the military can, they are deployed to make sure. Then they can do a one-stop, fix. What is the real problem? Then if we know the problem, let us not lie to ourselves that it's not Fulani people that are in cause. If that's the real cause, then what are their problems? What did they need? Then we can sit down and agree to fix it together. Then we can have lasting peace. And,
okay. Dr. Alausa actually raised something very, very vital. We know that at different fora, Mr. President had actually amplified the need for us to have the creation of state police, and of course the appeal to members of the National Assembly to amend the constitution to suit the creation of state police. And recently, I think it was a week or two ago, where some 48 people were named to be the ones sponsoring terrorism in the country. When you look at the call for the creation of state police, naming those sponsoring terrorism in the country, are those steps actually going to take us out of the wood presently when you look at the problem of insecurity facing the country?
It's a step in the right direction. There's no one, like he said, there's no one size fits all to the problem of insecurity as we have in Nigeria today. State policing all over the world also has its own challenges. But when you have state police is closer to the people. When you have the creation of state police in a locality, in a state, these are people that we know. These are people that the neighbors can identify. And when you begin to find people who are not part of your community, you can alert the state police, you can alert the security officials that are within your commute. I'm seeing strange movement around my zone. I'm seeing strange movement on my street. I'm seeing strange movement in my community. There are cars that I'm seeing now that I didn't see 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago. And so the state policing gives that opportunity for the officials to be able to delve deep into the local communities. And when you have state police, for example, in Lagos State, you can have officials that will take care of Ifakoja, local government, for example.
Okay.
Oshodi Solo, local government, for example. Mushin, and different areas. The policemen in Ifako don't have any business, as it were, in Agege. They don't have to go to Ikeja because they're not familiar with the area. But if we call the police in Ifakojaya and we say, oh, there's an issue on Ogunleye Street, they know where exactly Ogunleye Street is, and they are going straight into Ogunleye Street to tackle that issue, right? And the logistics for state policing is a lot smaller than you will have if you have to control the entire police force at the federal level. So state policing is definitely a step in the right direction. It will help curb insecurity. It will help curb criminalities. It will help curb thuggery. It will help curb cultist activities in local communities. Once they begin to gather, you know that you have direct lines to your state police officials, and you can easily call them to come in and take care of those problems. Like I said, all over the world, we have the Los Angeles Police Department, we have California. So all of these guys are able to particularly deal with the issues in their environments, in their local communities, and they're able to perform and provide tailor-made solutions to their problems in their community and in their communities. So we don't have to. I don't think it's rocket science, honestly. I don't think it's a lot of brain work. The areas that we will need to ensure that we pay particular attention to will be, who are these guys to be recruited? Who are the guys that will be called into that force? Don't go on the streets and begin to look for guys who you cannot even trace their backgrounds to start with, people you are bringing in. No. And like I said, again, there's some prejudices that we will need to do away with when it comes to the issue of, again, state police, right? If you go to school, you really don't care if the teacher that is teaching your child is Yoruba or Hausa or Igbo or anything like that. What you want to know is, does this guy or does this lady know what she's doing? If you get into a plane, you want to fly from Lagos to Abuja, you won't care. You don't care who the pilot is. You just want to be sure that this person has the necessary skill and the licenses to fly me from this location to the next. And once you get down, you're fine. We should look at these issues confounding Nigeria in such manner. We should begin to de-escalate tribal, religious, social ills. All of these social ills can be expunged from our society when we begin to look away from these prejudices and look at each other like fellow citizens. You are my brother, you are my sister, and we begin to deal with each other in love. That will bring lasting solutions to the issue of insecurity by the far stretch.
Okay, Dr. Lassa, before you respond, fine, we have seen the efforts and the impact of state police in other climes, in other parts of Africa and the world at large. But the question being raised in different quarters is the fact that people like you, politicians like you have the tendency to abuse the creation of state police to oppress your political opponent.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I'll respond to that in two ways. The idea of state police is very good. However, there are some infrastructures that need to be put in place before state police becomes generally acceptable. Are we willing as a people to make those investments? Is Nigeria as a country willing to make those investments? Are the states who are going to be eventually paying their police departments willing to make those investments? So let's run a typical day in any state in the US, for example, where state police, and that's the number one example of where state police is working effectively. You have the state police in the state, in the particular state, then you have the county level police, you have the city level police. So the first thing, if a police stops you, what is the first thing he asks you when you are in the US? Where's your license? Where's your ID? Whether your license or your state ID. In Nigeria, today, let's be honest, can we ask anybody for their state license or driver's license or state ID? Can we ask everybody or everybody, not only people driving their car? Okay, I stop you because I think you are carrying contraband in your bag or you have weapons on you. Can I just stop you and do an effective policing? By check, put it on the system, put your digitalized ID card in the system and run a background check on you in 2 minutes. Okay, who is this guy? Has he had any criminal records before? What's his age? Where was he born?
We should start leveraging on technology.
Exactly, that's where I'm coming from. Even though state police as it's where is very good, but if we do state policing just simply because we want to decentralize power from Abuja and say we don't want an inspector general of police at the national level, even if we want to reduce his power and then put the power in the hands of people, yes, it's fine. But do we have all the requisite technological
requirements, database
to make state policing effective? Yes, maybe we do. Maybe NIN, BVN, and all those things are already in place. But have we synergized it to the point where if I meet you on the road as a police officer and decide to do a background check on you, I can do it in 2 minutes so that I can radio Osun State Police Command immediately about an incident that you have been looked for? You see how states work? And it's not only at the level of ID cards. I'm talking about a very complex system where Osun State Police Command can talk to Lagos Police Command unhindered. So yes, state policing is very good. The idea is it
requires a lot.
It requires a lot on the back end, and if we must do it, we must do it slowly and on point, to the point that it doesn't become another Nigerian police at
the state level.
Okay. So that's my own fear. If I were, for example, in a position where I can make laws, I would add that clause that before we go into state policing, at that local government level, we need to build the backbone where that police system will be top notch and can compete with anywhere in the world. You see my point?
Okay.
Yes. So not just creating a uniform or creating all those things that are
without the necessary backups.
What are the backups? Then to your main question, that I said I was going to answer it in two phases.
That the politicians who abuse the creation of state police.
So how am I going to be able to abuse a system that is so technologically neat to the point where you have to answer for yourself? I can't tell you to carry a gun because of me.
Dr. Lausa, you know the way you politicians behave,
How do we behave?
especially in Nigeria.
How do we behave?
Once you have power, you want to use it to oppress your political opponents.
But that's what I'm just telling you, that technology makes everything very difficult. Do we, at some point, people can easily steal money in the banks, but now technology and all these things, I cannot even steal money from somebody's ATM. There's OPT and OTP and all these things now. Those are the kind of checks I said we must put in place. So when those things are there, we minimize, it's going to still happen. We minimize any interference. We reduce it to the barest minimum, and everybody can answer for themselves.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We are already in the season of politics, whether you like it or not. And the INEC timetable, Independent National Electoral Commission timetable is there. And political parties rather, they are racing against time. But we have seen pockets of oppositions here and there. We know we have Labour Party, we have the PDP, there are factions here and there. And of course, the latest one being the African Democratic Congress, which is the ADC. And when you look at the kind of engagement that these people are having, they are saying that the country is this, the country is that, but these are the people that have had opportunities to serve the country at one time or the other. Atiku had served, David Mark, Rauf Aregbesola, who else again? What's your mind? What's your state of mind regarding the 2027 general elections? Looking at the timetable of INEC, and what are you expecting from INEC to ensure that we have a better election compared to what we had in 2023?
Yes, you're very correct when you say it's a season of elections. And what I see, and I mean by extension, the APC is a group of people who are self. All that I see is...
Which politician is not self?
Well, a lot of politicians are not self.
Majority of them are self.
A lot of politicians are not self. A lot of politicians, especially in our climb now, I mean, you've heard Dr. Lausa speak, you've heard me speak, and I think we represent a new breed of politicians who are coming on the block now.
Generation.
A new generation
Yeah,
of
but
politicians.
you have not gotten that power. Maybe when you get the power, you change.
It's a good thing that we are on this kind of platform that is on record, so that we can play this back and say, these are the things that you guys said you were going to do and you were not going to do, right? When you have a former vice president, you have a former minister, you have former ministers, former Senate presidents, all coming together to say they're forming a coalition and they want to go against what exactly? These are the guys who brought us to the stage that we are in. These are the guys who have driven and piloted this country to the stage that we are in at the moment. So I'm wondering to myself, I grew up hearing Nigeria will be great again, Nigeria will be good, Nigeria will be this, we will have this, we will have that.
You are the leaders of tomorrow.
We are the leaders of tomorrow. But I'm looking back and I'm like,
when are you going to lead?
When exactly are you going to get off the table for we to actually do the leading? When are you going to give us the opportunity to be able to do this leading? And when you come together like that and you say you want to do a coalition, and already you are not even able to manage your home. There are so many issues now. They are in court today. They are in appeal tomorrow. They are about to have a congress today. It is being cancelled. I laugh because clearly it's going to be a smooth sail for the APC in 2027. Clearly.
Wait until we vote.
Clearly it's going to be a smooth sail for the APC in 2027. We have records on ground to show that the APC is working. The APC is on... we have aspirants, we have candidates who at the moment are in office and they are delivering what they said they would deliver. Let me take a classic example. DTO, the Minister for Interior, look at what we've seen in the last 3 years. Unprecedented growth. Yeah. Unprecedented growth. And I like the fact that Ashwaji Ahmed Tinubu is not taking the bull by the horn. He's taking the bull and the horn. He's working suspenders and belts here. And he's not relaxing at all in ensuring that the dividends that he has promised, the items in his manifesto that he has promised the people of Nigeria, they are being delivered, and they are being delivered swiftly. We will get there.
Except power.
And we will get there, I can assure you. We will get there. Because he has done it before in Lagos. And you see, I hear a lot of people say, oh, you guys always talk about this Lagos. But that is what we can point to. And he's on the track to ensure that these things also happen at the federal level. Let's not forget, like he said, a lot of these things are not government,
fix.
they are not one fixed thing. And government is a continuum, right? Where one stops, the other one picks it up. And it's opening up the entire ministry, the entire power sector to public operators, public investors to come in to ensure that these things begin to work. And I can assure you, in the next 1 to 2 years, we will see improvements that will it will blow our minds.
Okay,
we are already looking at that in the financial sector.
Because of my time, maybe I should take the second question, which you ought to answer to Dr. Lausa, which is what you expect from INEC to do better than it did in 2023.
Well, I think INEC as an organization should be independent, and I think they should do everything to be as independent as they can be. Well, every time you learn from your mistakes, they must have, maybe the last election that was done, 1 or 2 glitches here. I think INEC can fix that. And if they promise they want to do something, I think they should always do what they promise. All I can say is we wish them, to.
Because the opposition they are accusing the INEC chairman already.
Why are they accusing the INEC chairman? See, let me. I'm going to answer some of the questions that he did already in a rather philosophical way. The hallmark of service in politics is to have public office. Be the president or be the governor or be the whatever you want to be, and be able to influence the policies that you think will take your people to the next level. So you should not blame politicians when they aspire or when they strive in a very orderly way to become. That is not something that you should contest. People will want to be something. I mean, that's how life is. However, the best evidence of future performance is what you've done in the past. So Asiwaju Tinubu has the record.
You cannot campaign for Asiwaju here.
I'm not campaigning for him, and I'm not campaigning. So, and you look at the rest of the crew. Asiwaju himself answered the question a few days ago. He said, the people working against me, at least they had the opportunity to be something before. What did they do? Some people sold private government institutions and properties to themselves. They sold government businesses to themselves, and the properties did not still work. So that means something. I will stop there so that it doesn't look like I'm campaigning for the president. But back to your INEC question. I think INEC is working assiduously to make sure that they deliver a good election. They brought out their guidelines. They've given us a time frame to work with. It's left for any party if they cannot meet up the time. INEC is not going to come and do that for you. You have internal rancor in your party. You are fighting and bickering on yourself. While APC is solidifying their own house, they are making. They said they are going to do either direct primary or consensus, where if there's consensus, fine. If there's any debate, they go to. I mean, that's a sensible party and giving themselves an order how things should proceed. While you are still trying to fix your house, you are still fighting over who is the national chairman or who is not the national chairman. And so you cannot have any growth in a chaotic environment. Nobody should blame the APC or any other party as for that. There are other parties apart from ADC that they have put their house in order. Their candidates are already showing interest and they are coming out. So why should it be the ADC? And by the way, most of the people in ADC today are either people that are disgruntled in the APC or disgruntled in the PDP. What happened to the original party? Why can't they fix the problem they have in their party and then move forward?
Okay.
Why must every political difference end with destroying a political party and going to a new one and causing problem?
Okay, because of our time, there's a bill before the National Assembly calling for more seats for women. That's on one side. And Tokber is something very germane the other time that we've always had this slogan that youth are the leaders of tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You are both in politics. If you are offered the opportunity to come into power, what would you do differently to add value to the life of the people?
I think I think in my own private life, I've been doing that over the last decade. I have a foundation where I'm touching lives on my own. You
cannot mention the name.
I'm not mentioning any foundation. People who know me know already. Okay. And they know my impact and what I've done. And like I said, the best measure of a performance is what you've done in the past. At least people want to see your track record. What have you done in the past? They will be able to gauge what you do in the future. I think I'll rest that there. But personally, I think there's a lot of challenges in Nigeria. It's not going to be, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to fix all the problems. But if I get political power at the level which I'm going to work, I'll make sure that the bills and the kind of policies that government is going to be responsible to influence through the House of Reps is going to be, those that will touch the lives of
Through the
people.
National
For
Assembly.
example, yes. For example, we have opportunity for the girl child. If I have my way, because there's so much imbalance between the girl child and the boy child in Nigeria, sometimes you have to concede, that a girl child is has the right to also be educated and all those. So, for example, in those states that we have very low rates of enrollment of
Girl child.
you can make it free. So encourage the girl child to go to school, because we know now that there's nothing different between a man and woman except just the biological difference. Whatever a man can do, a woman can also get there. So that notwithstanding, we should not discriminate, or we should not discriminate. Let girl child as well as boy child
have equal
opportunity to survive and get the best out of life. I would also make sure, because for example, if you are in the House of Reps,
So for us to have all these changes, all this transformation,
yes,
you believe that we need to tweak some of our laws.
Policies should be in place that would touch the lives of people. Policies. For example,
And those are the things you'll be driving.
Yes, policies.
Okay.
Because policies, if you go to anywhere in the world, policies are what makes the difference. Something that's going to affect all of us together. Now, there are some parts that will not touch everybody together. For example, and I would mention it
quickly.
So you give a representative, you know that they are doing lawmaking, you know that they do oversight on MDAs and federal ministries, as well as the same way we have it in state government. And then you know the part that you also get constituency projects. Whatever you are doing in terms of constituency projects must touch the people directly. That is your own, social contract with them. If they are hungry, you must give them food. Now, the way and manner you deliver those dividends can vary, but whatever you are doing in terms of your constituency projects must not be elitist.
Okay, let's talk about it because of our time. You are saying that, we should create the platform, the opportunities for you to come and contribute to nation building. So, how?
There are so many ways, right? And as a lawmaker, for example, an aspiring lawmaker, one of the things that we'll be looking at is what kind of laws do we have in place now, that drive developments, that drive human capacity building. And that is one area that I am particularly interested in, human capacity building. Yes, the social infrastructure will be there. Yes, the food infrastructure, the stomach infrastructure will be there. But if you do not develop the human mind, the human brain, you will continually do that social infrastructure
all the time,
yes,
and it will get destroyed. You will continually do that food infrastructure and stomach infrastructure, and they will continually come to you. But if you're able to develop the human mind and they're able to fend for themselves, put food on their own table, they have skills. And again, that is one of the areas that I'm particularly interested in. As a building engineer myself, I'm very particular about what Yorubas would call Ishe Owo. We cannot but have our young people begin to get interested and committed to having vocational skills. We still need bricklayers, we still need welders, we still need plumbers, we still need tilers, a lot of tilers, if I must say so myself. So there's that wide gap that we have. Not all of us can be white collar professionals. A lot of us have to go back to having skills and being trade skills. Get into vocation, get into letter making, bag making, shoe making. All of those things are no longer what you would term the low level skills for people who didn't go to school. No, you can go to school and be an educated tiler. You can go to school and be an educated bricklayer or an educated mason. So that is one area that I'm particularly interested
Unfortunately,
in. Building the human mind.
Our time is fast spent. We need to go. We need to go. I may have to bring you guys back some other time. We still have a whole lot of days ahead of the 2027 general elections. And, we'll be engaging you from time to time to come and see what we should do better as we approach another round of election in the country. I've been speaking with Dr. Olayinka Alausa, is a politician and a physician. Thank you very much for your time. And of course, Temitope Akinyemi, an APC chieftain, was equally a member of the Presidential Campaign Committee for the year 2022. And so they feel that things can get better if we change our policies, if we change our programs, and if everybody's hands are on deck to move the nation forward, and things will change for our dear country, Nigeria. Thank you very much for your time once again.
It's always a pleasure.
All right, we'll take a very short break now. When we come back, we'll be wrapping up on the show for today. Stay with us.
From our end, PDP being an opposition party led by Turaki SAN, we have absolute faith in the court. This court, this Supreme Court, through its predecessors, have stood firm or has stood firm through time, even during the military, in the defense of democracy. This court too has stood firm in the defense of multi-party democracy. And I know that their successors who are currently here will also rise to the occasion to ensure that democracy, this democracy in the Fourth Republic, does not die in our hands.
We are quite confident. The case is very straightforward. We are here today. The court, like the legal advisor has said, we are waiting for a day for the ruling. But we are very confident that the case will be decided in our favor because it's an established case. Incidentally, like was reported, one of the judges were actually among the judges that laid the precedent on which we rely for our case. We just can't tell our members to keep hope alive because, like we have repeatedly reiterated, what is at stake is no longer about ADC. What is at stake is the very democracy of Nigeria.
Democracy will survive despite all the intimidations. Ignore, and I will advise you, as I will advise myself, stay focused. When you are succeeding and they are angry, leave them in their corner. Stay focused and believe in yourself as you have been doing. You have leaders who had privatized electricity that is not working. They gave us darkness and despair. And we are trying to get ourselves through that to build a nation of bright hope and joyful people and leave our children with a life worthy of pride. But they don't even believe in the democracy that they preach all about. Don't pay attention to them because I will not.